this is the 1940 Studebaker Champion. I thought I would go ahead and give an update. It's January 2023, January 20th. So I got this car a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. And I have the hood up because we're going to look at the engine. But this car I found basically actually at the back of a dialysis clinic. And the gentleman that had it, he had several cars actually. He had AMCs for sale and some other stuff. And I found this on Marketplace. And yeah, I brought it back home. It was going to be going off to the junkyard. And the guy had it for a number of years. It sat on the back of a trailer and he never did anything to it. It came from Oregon. However, I don't think it was up there its whole life. I think it was probably in California. There's no camps or rust at all on it. All this rust is just surface rust that'll come off when it's painted. There's like no cancer rust except around the bottom lip of the trunk where the weather stripping held in moisture through the years. And so anyway, so I went down and picked this up, and it was in very sorry shape. It was missing the drive shaft. The radiator had been recored and was in the trunk. It was missing a lot. And basically it was an engine, which we'll take a look at in a bit, an engine sitting inside the engine compartment with nothing around it. The starter was missing. Someone had removed, and I don't know if it was the gentleman who had it, but someone had removed so much of the stuff. I think they were getting it redone, and obviously something probably happened. They died or something, and it was missing a lot. The starter was gone. The generator was there. The wiring had all been Mickey Mouse and like in horrible shape. And yeah, so this car was basically left for dead. And a lot of people don't collect Studebakers. I was actually in the market to getting an independent brand, an orphan brand basically, for myself. I've owned a lot of different cars, but I had never actually owned a Studebaker. I have a good friend who owns lots of Studebakers, but not this era, mostly the 1950s. And so, but I wanted something pre-war, but I wanted something that had, obviously juice brakes and stuff like that. And I'm used to dealing with cars of the 40s. So anyway, so I pulled this home and towed it in, and it sat for over a year. I did some little things to it. I don't do brakes. I don't do wiring for the most part, just minor stuff. I got a belt and did the water pump and put in the radiator and the hoses and the thermostat and the starter, put new battery cables in, a voltage regulator, just lots of different things. And I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and get it together as much as I can. And then I got it started, and it ran off of a gas can. And as you saw in a previous video of mine, it ran pretty good and not too bad. And we'll go ahead and open it up. So anyway, it ran off a gas can. It really smoked like a lot, but not bad smoke. It was just smoke that was like from it sitting. It wasn't the oil burning smoke or the I'm catching on fire smoke or the white smoke. It was just burning off probably what was in the muffler, the tailpipe, and so on. So one of the things I was impressed with when I got it was the fact that the interior is still intact. This is the original interior here, which is pretty cool. And so when it's redone, I'll be able to have all this copied perfectly, thanks to having the original right here. From what I understand, this is a deluxe model. It's a 1940 Studebaker Champion. This was the second year of the Champion, which basically helped save Studebaker. This was a budget model, but this one's on the higher end. This one here is on the higher end. And lots of updated stuff. We'll look at the dash, upgraded, I should say, stuff compared to the base model. But anyway, so I got the car running, all that. It still sat for a few more months. And then back about 4 months ago, I took it to a local shop and they did the wiring and they did some of the other stuff. Did a good job. We left a couple things unplugged because I'm waiting for some extra harnesses, namely for the headlights. And the one tail light, unfortunately, is toast. But the other tail light is working because I was able to find one. That's the problem with this car, is it's not particularly valuable, but it's very difficult to find parts. The next thing I'll be doing is the glass, couple of the glass windows. This one, the other side, which is broken, and the windshield. Not very expensive, flat glass, which is good. So anyway, I just got it back, and drive shaft is good to go. The gas tank was redone. I had them put on a 6-volt fuel pump, which is really good. And I have did the wiring, did all the brake system. All the brake system was missing. Once again, going into not being able to find stuff for this car. And that took a while to find. Brake shoes, drums, everything. It was a mess. It was all missing. And so you can see there's my new taillight. By the way, this is also a deluxe model because it has 2 taillights. Most Champions only have 1. So, unless they're a deluxe model, like this one. But anyway, so we had to reconstruct the entire brake system, which was not good. And yeah, so costly, of course, as cars go. But we're about 70% there. We have a bit of an oil leak still. That's from the oil pump. So the oil pump's going to have to be removed and resealed and rebuilt. And then I have to get a choke, which I'm ordering, a choke switch too, because it likes to be difficult in starting. Here's the passenger side. And the seat's actually intact underneath my cover here. I'm going to replace the cover, but the seat's actually intact, which is pretty crazy. And there's the back seat and the other door panel. And this also has a dome light too. Now, something that I put in, since I got it back yesterday, was the clock. This was an option, and I got lucky in actually finding one. So I put that in. Yes, I know, the dash is old. And thankfully it actually doesn't leak up here, which is kind of odd. You think it would. But obviously once we get a new windshield, we'll have a new seal there too. All the gauges actually work, oddly enough. And I was able to source a Bakelite headlight switch. And then we have the speedometer. And it shows 15,778, which is probably 115. There's an optional banjo steering wheel, but I'm missing the center of it. Once again, things coming off and not coming back. So anyway, so the clock was an option, and I got lucky and I found a new old stock one, which is great, and I'm very happy about. So it was difficult to find, not an easy find. But there's also the wipers, the dual wipers, the ashtrays there in the middle. No radio. I do have the radio, but I'm missing the grill, the proper grill for it. So once I get the proper grill, I'll be installing the radio just for looks. I'll be actually putting a Bluetooth speaker mounted inside of here, hidden. So that should be fun. Obviously, we're not ready to drive in it yet, just because of the windshield. I can't see where I'm going. But yeah. And then also there's a bunch of cool stickers on here. Okay, there's like that one, and then the one from earlier. All sorts of motor clubs and things like that, which is pretty cool. Starter button replaced, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the engine. And it actually took me a long time to find these two pieces down here. These were missing as well. Someone had taken this whole front end off, and when I got it, it was all loose. So let's go ahead and take a look at the engine. So this is the Flathead 6 from Studebaker. And they made this and variations of this engine for years and years and years. And like I said, we're still waiting on the headlight wiring harnesses. And I'll put a video of this running along with this video, or we'll show it in a minute here. The wonders of editing. Stuff that's going to come off when it's taken in for painting. So it's not in too bad a shape considering how old it is. Looks like it's had 3 coats of paint. It was a royal blue color, then it was a red color, and then it was this turquoise green blue color. So probably when I get it painted, it will go back to the royal blue color. And whoever was here was a member of the National Automobile Club. And that's not AAA. I did some research. So, also really cool back here is there's a strap to hold on to. And an ashtray. Yay, ashtray. But no rear cigarette lighters. This car's not fancy enough for that. Lots of Lincolns and other cars had that, though, during this era. And there's a dash view. So that is my 1940 Studebaker Champion update. And we have brakes and we have all sorts of stuff going on with it now. And it is drivable, though I'm not driving it just because of the windshield. But it is drivable, and great little car, cool car, and something that's very interesting from an era that's long gone. And this is a car that every person would have driven. It was something that almost anyone could afford if they could afford a car. And it saved us Studebaker for quite some time. And anyway, so that is the 1940 Champion. Have a wonderful day.